Good morning. This is Shri here with a quick reaction to what just transpired on Sunday, right after the Patriots game. That when Jerod Mayo, the head coach of the Patriots, was let go by the owner, Robert Kraft, after a very dismal season, a 4-13 season that was uh, pretty much had all the drama in terms of how he was outcoached a lot of players. There was still a lot of things. At least this is from outside looking in. Um, no one has what no one knows what actually goes inside a locker room, including a lot of the journalists that cover the team itself. But it did appear that the team itself was not um, very cohesive when you looked at it. And the play on the field also is what we all see as fans. And I think it came with a lot of promise after the first game. They beat Cincinnati, and at that time, Cincinnati was still trying to figure out. Joe Burrow was coming from an injury, and the Patriots caught the right time. They caught Cincinnati the right time, and if not for that loss, Cincinnati would be in the playoffs right now. But after that, starting Jacoby Brissett for longer than expected, when the rest of the teams, including Washington, Denver, Chicago, started rookie quarterbacks, and Drake May didn't start until week number 8. And maybe it could be because of the development, maybe that Mayo didn't feel that Drake May was ready for taking over the quarterback position for the Patriots. But the Patriots really stumbled after the Cincinnati game, went on a tailspin. They could not muster points. You knew every time they got on the field, he was getting outcoached by the other team, and he was the defensive coach. Now, granted, there were some injuries in on the defensive side, but the offensive line was very poor, which did not really protect the quarterback, whether it was Brissett or Drake May. Drake May really brought in a lot of juice into that. I mean, he finished it with 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. A lot of his interceptions were definitely not his fault. I mean, there were tip-offs and where the receivers were not making their plays. But having said that, you're definitely going to see growing pains with a quarterback. But where it all started to go downhill for Mayo was that every game that they played, whether it's the Cardinals game or the Chargers game, they did not really show up, and they really got outclassed from the get-go. They were not able to adapt. Obviously, the players are there to play, and at the end of the day, they are the ones who have to execute, and they were making a lot of mistakes on the field, whether it's like holding calls on the offensive side or false start penalties, or on the defensive side, um, ending up with like 15-yard penalties for roughing the passer or holding on or pass interference calls. These are all comes down to coaching. But when you see that more often than not, it is going to come down to the coach and also the coaching staff. At this time, he was such a good player. Mayo was such a good player. I did see here a little bit of what Kraft was talking about yesterday about how he put Mayo in a very tough spot, and I agree with that. Um, I think as much as I like to criticize May for what transpired this season, end of the day, it was on the owner who wanted to move away from the greatest coach of all time. Obviously, Bill didn't have good seasons towards the end, and it all went downhill after Brady left New England, and there was only one season that they had. They went to the playoffs with Mac Jones and Josh McDaniel, who was the offensive coordinator at the time. But as far as this year is concerned, Kraft put him in a spot where they did pick the third pick in Drake May, and I think that was a good move by Mayo. But the defense was still there. But I know they did get hurt. They did have some injuries. They traded away Judon. But then what did happen was that Kraft put him in a spot with a very weak offense, with a very weak team, and he didn't put him in a position where he could succeed. He did think that, having a rookie quarterback who's very super talented, who could be a good player in this league, and combined with um, a decent offensive line and some good defense, because the Patriots did have good defense, the team would go from 4-13 to 8 or 9 wins, and that was what Kraft was hoping. But I think while he did put him in that spot, it was a point of no return. Mayo did not prove. I mean, he did show his inexperience as a coach, whether it's on the interviews or whether it was on the field, where they could not really adjust to the other team. So, or even the play calling itself in many teams. And Patriots had a chance to win 3 or 4 games easily, and maybe that should have saved his job. But I think they did not show improvement. And there was folks on the NFL, ESPN, who kind of talked about that Bill Belichick was 5-11. But what they failed to realize is that Bill was 5-11 the year before they won the Super Bowl, but their defense was actually clearly improving. Brady in the back end was working his tail off, and by the time the training camp arrived in 2001 season, Brady was clearly outplaying Bledsoe. And the only reason why Brady didn't start over Bledsoe was because of his experience. But then, as fate would have had it, 0-2, Mo Lewis hits Bledsoe, and the rest is history for the Patriots. But as far as this season is concerned, Mayo was put in a very tough spot, as I said, but also he did not show enough. He did not show enough to actually merit his place as a head coach for the Patriots. So I'll do a much more detailed um, reaction with Amit on the Patriots. But this is just a quick reaction based on what just transpired a couple of days ago. Thanks again for listening, and hopefully the Patriots will hire a new coach, and we'll talk about that. I have some opinions on that, but I'll talk more in detail with Amit. So have a good rest of the day. Thank you for listening.